I'm trying to think about this while I'm speaking, but I think it was two things. Like from a business perspective, the whole idea is to just like, really saturate when you're starting. Yeah, you just want to go around, come back in 6 months and try to build. You're building. You're trying to build momentum while also putting out new music like every 2 years or whatever. But then there's also, this is what we do. This is like, I mean, I was proposing, I got turned down, but I was proposing to the band, let's try to do 400 shows in 1 year. Like, play doubles some night, two, three shows like in a day some at times. That was our sense of purpose. We're connecting. Like, I'm getting something out of this and seeing them get something out of what we're doing. It's always been that mutually beneficial sort of relationship that we were looking for on the road. And so, yeah, we thrived off of that.
Welcome everybody back to the. I don't know how to start shows.
I don't know, but your starts are so stupid sometimes. I love it. It's great. It's great.
Know. Welcome back to the Quiet Riot Show. We're here again. It's been a little while. We have a guest with us today, which is great.
I'm excited.
We had a couple episodes of just you and I don't know. That's not as interesting.
Well, we end up usually just talking about how tired we are and how busy we are, and even though like they're different stories, it's kind of becoming the same thing over and over. And so we want to change it up again, bringing back guests, and we've gotten good feedbacks that people like hearing other people's perspectives.
Well, I think I like hearing other people's stories. And
we learn a lot from.
We get wrapped up in our own worlds, and so I actually learn tons by sitting across 100%. The table from somebody and having a conversation. So it's,
absolutely.
And today it's someone I've known for a pretty long time, like a really long time.
Me too, not personally, but
so Jeremy, welcome.
Thank you.
Jeremy is a professional musician for a living. He's
professional.
Oh, come on, let's not get ourselves
entry level professional.
I would say that's a fair. You play music for a living.
I do,
which is amazing, and like.
Most of garage band musicians.
I tried to do that, and you tried to do that, and like you're still doing it, which is awesome.
No, it's just the word professional. It just comes with like when I think of like a professional golfer.
How about
it's
a career?
Like, that means they make
career
money.
Musician.
Yeah, career musician.
Okay,
it means they make money. I mean, you're still here, so there's something to that.
The mortgage payments are barely getting made.
But they're getting made.
But you know what? I guess that's how we all are. But I assume you're doing what you love doing.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, at the end of the year, maybe, I look back and I'm like, man, there were so many times where I could have walked away from this.
Okay.
But it's, it's still like something that, I don't know, that I come by honestly. Like, I'm getting close to 50, but I still kind of like writing caveman riffs.
Like, do you feel every year like you still have unfinished business?
Yep.
And it's just like, okay, one more year, I'm going to do this again.
For sure. And I would also, maybe this is my ADHD brain kicking in, but I also feel like I need to make room for that because I have other music that I want to do, and I feel like sometimes that gets pushed to the front. And it's like, okay, I need to get this little project, even if it's just for me, out of the way, because there is more Comeback Kid stuff that obviously needs to be a bit more of a priority. Yeah. So sometimes these other projects that I want to do, they kind of are in my periphery and they need to get out.
Yeah, okay.
But to answer your question, there's still, I think, some gas in the tank as far as riff writing goes.
I saw you year before. Last time I saw
Mexico.
You perform in Mexico.
That was so funny.
It looked like there was gas in the tank.
Yeah, that was about a year and a half ago. I want to say it was March last year. But
I think you're right. Yeah.
I mean, I gotta say, every Comeback Kid show looks like there's tons of gas left in the tank because you guys have so much energy on the stage, and the fans too. Like,
that's just what I was going to make sure that there was an asterisk there, the fans, because we thrive off of their energy.
For sure.
So it's like when we're playing to like a wax museum, We might suffer a little, but and we can just like find that sweet spot of interaction with the crowd. Then it makes us look really good.
Actually, that just reminds me. I saw a video where these two bands were touring together, and they're really good friends. And they actually the headlining band hired a bunch of actors for the crowd to not react at all to the music.
Okay.
For the opening band, and so they literally came out and they're like, "Hey, are you guys ready?" And people are just like chatting and like not interacting at all. And I think they done almost the whole set like that.
Wow.
And they came off like, "What the fuck?"
That's mean. Fucking mean. It's funny though.
I know, it's hilarious, yeah. So before we get into all the details that we're gonna be pulling out of you, we do a check-in. We check in with each other. We use that with our wives now, and just kind of want to know where we are at the moment. So for us, we usually do from show to show. So we'll do our check-ins first, and then we'll go with you. And whether you want to use last week, last month, whatever.
It's a number system, 1 to 10.
Copy.
1 obviously being not so good. So Tommy, how are you?
Oh, I'm an 8 or a 9. Like,
you're on fire this week.
I am. Just came off. I'm coming off a super high. So we've talked about in our previous shows that because we are so busy, it's important for me and my wife to take some time for ourselves. And it seems like that the only way to do it is to spend a shitload of money and go on a trip, because we're not around the house, we're not around our responsibilities, and that way we get to actually enjoy ourselves, have a drink, sit down without like, okay, let's finish this drink and let's keep going, So we had a very busy weekend, but it was just like, okay, let's do this, let's go here, let's go there, and it's actually perfect timing to have you on. I had a very fun musical weekend, or I guess day, because we started off on Sunday. We were in Minneapolis, so we ended up going to Paisley Park to see Prince's estate.
Nice. And
that was unbelievable. Like, even my wife, who's not a musician, I mean, she played sax in high school, but I think it was saxophone, or clarinet, one of those. Even she like appreciated everything that was that we saw. Super cool. I'm not gonna go into the detail because I could talk for hours, but then after that we went to see my son's favorite band, Dayseeker, and they opened up with started with Kingdom of Giants, and then Catch Your Breath, which also my son loves those guys. And Alpha Wolf was fucking crazy, and Dayseeker finished the night. So great lineup, and I brought to show the souvenirs that he got.
Right, you get to live all this.
Oh my god, like through my son,
life through your son now.
Yeah, so he got the Alpha Wolf set list.
Yeah, I did a tour with them.
Nice.
Last year. Yeah, they're
and
good blokes.
Yeah, and then so after they finished their set, before the encore, the lights went out, and they pulled out the security guards in the front there. They had the flashlights and just shining at my son. I'm like, what the hell are they doing? And they just like hand him this paper. So there's 5 picks, actually 6. That one was just found on the ground, but 5 picks were attached to it, and there's a personalized message for thanks for singing along, because he knows all the songs. Then
That's
they came
awesome.
out, they did the encore, and he received a stick from the drummer Zach, and Zach kind of commented on my son's video too when he learned to play a song on one of the Dayseeker songs. So I posted it, and I mean, I tagged him, and he found it super cool. Whether he recognized him or not, probably not. There's no way in hell.
They see a lot of people.
But, they recognize he was on my shoulders the whole time and singing along, and everybody noticed it. So it was a really nice touch that they gave him all these things.
That's awesome.
It was super cool. So, yeah, I'm totally riding a high, and it was just a great weekend with my family, and kind of forgot all the responsibilities I had.
Nice.
For job, not as a parent, but that was fun, yeah. And came back, then I stayed up another 6 hours to work, but that's fine. That's just
pay the price. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
right.
I'm doing great, huh?
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
How about yourself?
Oh man, 4.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and we talked about it on the show before. My wife, and I'm not going to go into detail about that, but like my wife's been pretty sick and they can't figure out what it is. And so that's an extremely frustrating situation. And it's very taxing on every part of our life. Like it's taxing on our family life, our marriage, our everything. And like, it's just struggle, and you get through it, and you love, and you just do your best. But like it hurts and it's hard. And like, so she's fatigued, like very, very fatigued, very, very frequently. So it's like she can do something for a couple hours and then she can't do anything for just a nap or whatever. And so it's a big adjustment, and it's gone on a lot longer than we had expected. Yeah. And so
it's been a while now.
Yeah. And like with my work life and my business, it's just unbelievably busy going into that. And then never mind now this added on. It's kind of all piling on, and it's pretty crushing. But we're still here. We're doing it. Yeah. I love that woman more than anything in the world. So it just means a little more effort when I can, and a little more driving my daughter around and doing that kind of stuff. But just being a dad, being a husband. Exactly. So I signed up for all this. So like, fucking here we are. Like there's no out. So it's just like, all right, let's do it.
That's not an option, right?
So I would say I'm a 4, but in some, it's such a complex thing, because in some ways everything's amazing. Like my life doesn't suck. Yeah. My life's great. So like, I feel like a 4, but like my life is great, and I'm not complaining about that. It's just
it's okay to feel a 4 sometimes.
Yeah, I feel a 4, and it's pretty heavy, but it's okay. Yeah, we're here. Jeremy, you want to take a shift here?
Oh boy. See, it's hard for me to know what baseline is.
It's your own baseline.
Yeah.
Which maybe you don't know either.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, and sometimes like people take like you're a 5, and that's like a normal thing, right? So. For Tim, for example, a 7 is like his normal.
Right.
Yeah, that's my baseline. Yeah.
Like things aren't looking so peachy when it drops below 7 and above that. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd probably say I'm maybe somewhere around a 6.
Okay.
You know, kind of like Tim said, like my life doesn't suck. You know, I'm well aware of where I live and you know what I don't have to deal with. But at the same time, things could be better in a million different ways. Yeah. So some in my control, some not in my control. So probably somewhere around a 6.
Okay.
Yeah. Feeling very flustered and busy at the moment, like I was kind of saying before we came on the podcast. There's a lot going on, and again, not all in my control, but kind of all comes across my desk, if so to speak.
Yeah. For sure.
Sweet. So that means a lot of collaborative chasing down people and efforts that you're given, or tasks you're given.
I mean, just to kind of frame that a little bit, I'm pretty independent. I'm an introvert. You know, I kind of like navigating a lot of things on my own. Being in a band and business with a band means that you're not going to be making calls and doing things on your own. So you're always collaborating. And as an introvert, I get that anxiety about like, oh, how do I bring this up? Oh, this just got brought up. How do I respond? You know? Yeah. So a lot of times the molehills become mountains.
Yep.
Yep.
Which is probably part of the conversation later.
Yeah. I would think we might get into that. Yeah, for sure.
We'll unwrap that later.
But yeah. So
okay.
And also, I mean, the busy side of things, it's not necessarily a bad thing because it's a good problem to have. But
I feel that
it's just totally. when you're in the thick of it, and you're like, I just got back from Edmonton where we said goodbye to a band that I've toured with for the last 2 decades. You know, there's a lot going on there, and then
just a lot.
Yeah,
and
busy.
And I think
but in a good way.
It's it's good, and the weight is okay, and the 6s and the 5s and 4s, like they're okay.
Oh yeah,
it's just they are what they are, and you have to feel them.
Oh
like
yeah,
you just have to have that experience, and like it's okay. And we talk a lot about this on the show, and it's like you're allowed, even if your life's great, you're allowed to feel like shit.
Oh yeah,
you're allowed to feel overwhelmed. You're allowed to feel sad or depressed or anxious
Yeah,
or whatever
yeah.
that is. Like
Well,
those are important feelings to feel when you have them.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And a lot of what is making me feel like a 5 or 6 stressed out is because I'm trying to, not just myself, but other people involved, get us to a place where we're feeling a 7 or 8
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly, right?
So
yeah.
getting to that point, is that's the grind.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I wanted to say like all those 4s and 5s, like if we didn't have those in life, we would never evolve. We would never get better
Yeah.
at things, right? Because if something bad, I truly believe that if there's something that happens to you and it's negative, it's there for a reason. For us to get better or improve on things. So
I've always felt like growth comes when things are tough.
Yeah.
Because that's your opportunity to rise to a challenge, to grow and all that stuff. And so, yeah, things have to get
Yep.
tough or else you just don't know what that feels like.
Exactly.
The 7 for me feels so much better because I know what a 3 feels like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. Right.
And I feel weird around people that are 9s all the time because
I don't understand that.
there's people that fake it, but then I also think that there are people that are up there all the time, and I feel kind of weird being around them because I just can't relate.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with
Yeah.
people like that.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for them,
There's a
but
certain
it's just
level
like
of
your happiness and overjoyousness is
My
just
God,
stressing me
I
out.
can just picture you like, why the fuck are you so happy?
But it must be nice. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, but
Like
I'm
the
assuming
cynical,
it's
the
great.
cynical part of me
Yeah.
wants to emphasize that we need those 3s and 4s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there are also people that can just fly
Yeah.
on 9.
Yeah, I just
maybe
don't.
enter
I'm-
the wooden box in a 9. You
I'm
know?
not one of them. I don't understand
Yeah, I
it.
definitely don't
I actually have friends like that, and like my kids, like I let them like kind of play in dirt and stuff like once in a while, but like essentially when I see a kid rolling in mud and just the parents like, that's funny. I was losing my shit. I was like, oh my God, like how can you let your kid do that? But they're just,
That's
it's fine.
a 9.
It's okay.
That's
yeah,
being a
exactly.
9.
Yeah,
I'm-
exactly. And like same thing. Yeah, I don't get it, but hey, good for
Yeah.
you.
Man. So let's dig into it. So, okay, so you already mentioned you're in Comeback Kid, I would say a fairly well-known band in all over the world. Really, you've traveled like crazy. I guess some of the thing. What am I going to ask? Then there's so much here. I've known you forever through different bands. I'm from Repressed and like way back. We're not even going to go that far back. We don't have to. But but music has been a journey of yours for a very, very long time, I think is probably the right way to say it. How has that been for you? Let's take maybe like, give me a snapshot of 20 years ago and a snapshot of 10 and then 5.
What about 30 years? No.
Sure. Yeah, we can go as far back as you want. You decide. Like, at what point did something click with you where you're like, oh, I'm going to do this. I want to do this.
I think that in my teenage years, that was always something that I didn't think I was going to do, but I wanted to do. Like if I could do that, that'd be sick. But just like I grew up rurally, I moved around a ton. I just never had a point of reference, like, with getting into a band or any of that stuff until I moved to Winnipeg when I was 18. So, yeah, it was. I don't think I necessarily want to call it a fantasy, but I learned how to play guitar on my own. I grew up in a very strict religious home that did not allow the kind of music that I wanted to listen.
Buddy.
Yeah.
Was that the devil's music?
Yeah.
So I had to, and I was pretty, from their perspective, I'd have to say I was pretty good about it, but I also found my way around it. But I just, writing was always something that, just coming up with song ideas, not necessarily lyrics so much, but like, building songs. That was always something, especially once I would say I hit around 16. Like ever since then, that's just sort of like a life purpose. And then, I moved to Winnipeg when I was 18 and came here with zero like connections, but just kind of found, my way around. And not to spend too much time in the early years, but, for people that are familiar with Winnipeg venues, like, started hanging out around the Albert, and that's kind of where things started to really click as far as like meeting the right people to get me to where I am now, or
Well, and there was a scene, like there was a scene of people, and if you hadn't,
very interesting scene.
And
now that I've done a lot of touring, looking back at the mid '90s from my perspective, weird, like really weird, like very PC, and there was like very Christian, and there was other stuff too, but like those kind of things were like very, very front and center in Winnipeg music in the mid '90s.
But we were all in the room together.
Yeah.
So often we were very much so in the room together. For the most part,
there was some friction
for sure.
But for the most part, and that's what drew me, I think, in a large part to, sort of the subgenre of hardcore. It was like I could be like, I'm not that person, because I was also Christian back then, which I'm, I've dipped out. But
I was too.
But at the time, I really appreciated the fact that a Christian, a Muslim, a straight edge kid, an atheist, a vegan, whoever could all be at the same show. Members of all of those mindsets were members of all of those bands on the same bill, and it was fine. There'd be discussions, but it was just like, I'm learning from you, you're learning from me. We're not always going to agree on everything, but I really liked that.
That was so eye-opening for me when I started participating in that scene. Yeah. And like, because I grew up similar. I grew up in Winnipeg, but like a fairly strict like 90s Christian home, and I think everyone knows, anyone who's been there knows the 90s were a little different for Christian homes than they are today. Yeah. And once I got exposed to some of that, like I was going to shows, and there was bands, and there was like the Christian people that we played some Christian shows together, but they weren't like Christian shows, but we were a group, and then there was still this other group, and like we were all together. Yeah. And it not very often do I remember experiencing too much friction around that.
No, there was some, but like
it was, for the most part, it was really friendly, and it was really communicative. Like it was very much a community.
Yeah. Well, I think that still happens though, like where that the fan base or the musicians kind of have these communities. I think there's just more subsections, I guess, of people, right? I think so. Because like I've always find like I've been to a couple, I don't want to really admit to it, but a couple pop artists, concerts.
I'll admit to that shit all day long.
I got free tickets, so I went. Anyways, but I know, like, I've seen more aggression at those shows than like at like metal shows or hardcore shows, because like people get together at these shows and everyone's friends, and like I love that music community that
now you've been all over doing this for a very long time. How do you, like, you see other music scenes? There's a lot of cities you've been to enough times that you like see familiar faces, you see familiar people, you see that community. How would you separate Winnipeg from that, or is it the same?
I mean, there's definitely comparisons you can make, but I think Winnipeg, especially back then, would have been fairly unique just because of like the demographics that I was kind of describing. Like there was a really, maybe I have things completely wrong, but in my perception, there was a big PC scene and there was a big Christian scene. Like big per capita. Like Winnipeg's not a big city, but there was a big, like you put on a local show, there'd be like 300, 400, 500 kids that would come out, like to arguably no-name bands that people across the country never heard of any of these, but there'd be a ton of kids out. And just to segue a little bit, and then I'll come back, but I feel like that ended up being a bit of a launch pad for like my musical career, because I did come out of that scene, and like Figure 4, Comeback Kid, even though Comeback Kid, just to clear it up, we've done this a million times, has never been a Christian band. No. Figure 4, yes, it was, but none of us are there either. Anyways, we kind of came from that, and that was hugely beneficial to getting both of those bands going.
It was birthed out of that for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. So going back to like comparing, I think that because of our geography, it kind of kept that uniqueness about it. We kind of like when I talk to my friends who live out east, like in Connecticut, New York, Massachusetts, I'm like, you guys are so lucky. Like, you could hold jobs and do these weekend
tours,
and then come home,
Yeah.
work your job, and then go drive 2 hours,
Yeah.
come home, work your job. And you could do that for half a year, and you're always playing a different city. Winnipeg.
We never had that luxury.
You
gotta go far. Like,
the
when
closest city bigger than us is Minneapolis. That's a border and about a 7-hour drive.
Yeah.
For me, when I was doing it, it was Toronto. You go to Toronto, and then you do everything
settle
from there, and
there,
that's like your home base. And then it's like, okay, we got 2 hours, we got 2, we got 3, we got like that was what it was. And so it's like, oh, you start with a 24-hour drive.
Yeah.
Which also, like, I know your history a little better, but like, you did those drives.
Yes,
you
I did.
Are you still the driver?
I just drove to Edmonton and back by myself.
Okay.
Yes,
And
everybody else flew.
you've done 1,000,000 miles by yourself.
Easily. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
probably more than 1,000,000, actually.
Probably,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I would think.
Is that just preference? Like, you just
Yeah,
love driving?
it's a bit of both. It's like I'm the most comfortable behind the wheel, and I think everybody is also the most comfortable with me being behind the wheel. So it just kind of works out that way. And I'm also,
I guess the introvert part would, like, some peace, some quiet, like just to drive by yourself is probably actually you might look forward to that.
Yeah. Especially
decompress a bit.
Now I have my phone, and I can flip through the news and whatever. But especially, like, let's say like 10, 15 years ago, everybody was just on their laptops watching shows, right? They downloaded like Lost or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't watch TV. So for me, I'd much prefer to drive than, do nothing.
Yeah, that's fair. Be peaceful.
Yeah.
Quiet.
And like, there were times where I would do a 24-hour drive just by myself to get from point A to point B, because there was limited time. So I'll just do it myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's faster doing it by myself than 3 people taking turns.
True.
I'll just,
for sure. You just hammer
just
it,
do
and you get into the groove, and then you just go. Yeah.
I'm very stubborn sometimes.
So when you started touring, like when you started touring a lot, so let's say, I guess probably Figure 4 days would have been when touring really started to happen for you. What was that experience like?
Well, so just for people that aren't fully familiar, like, I joined Figure 4 in 2000, and I was kind of around for the writing of the second record, but writing and recording, but after that second record came out, then started doing a lot of touring, and then the third record, then it was even busier, but it was, that was my gateway to see the world. Like, we did some weird things looking back. Like, one of the weird ones was we got offered to go to, some would say South America, but it actually ended up being Brazil. So we did a 13-day tour in Brazil in 25 days, which nobody has ever done to my knowledge. Because it's unless you're from there, it's very different. If you're a Brazilian band, you would do that. But we played some interesting places. But like, all of that was formative. Like, we didn't know. Like, now I can help bands, like, don't take that deal, just do it this way or whatever. We didn't have anybody to lean on.
You were just doing
like,
it.
Here's somebody who wants to bring you down, and they'll buy your tickets and details, like, looking at like, it's just,
well, and that was like early internet, so it wasn't like what it is today. And so, like, there's no forum to help you figure this out. There's nobody by your side. There's no. Like, at that point, probably no manager, no, like, maybe a friend as a tour manager to help out or whatever, but like,
just all yourselves.
We're getting on a plane, and I guess
just us.
Fucking see what happens when we get there.
Was that like an opportunity for, like, did you guys look at it as an opportunity? It was like, hey, this is pretty cool.
Oh, absolutely.
And now you're like, looking back, it's like, oh, that was dumb.
It was so dumb, but also, like, I'm so glad we had that experience, because at the time, there were moments where it was like, what are we doing? There's some beefing in the band, beefing with, like, just the way things were happening or not happening, like language barriers. That was our first actual, like, we had a translator on the tour who was friends with the band that brought us down, that wanted to tour with us, is the way I understood it. Maybe I'm wrong. But anyways, he ended up leaving the tour because apparently there was some money issues that were affecting us that we weren't aware of, and he got in a big fight with them and left the tour. And then we're like, oh cool, we just found out that things are going sideways, and now the translator's
and
gone.
now nobody understands us, and we don't understand anybody.
So at the time it seemed insane, like, but also now looking back, like, what was that, 22 years ago, it's like, wow, like that's pretty cool that we got to experience that. But I'd never want to do that again. But wow, that was cool.
And have you been back there since?
Oh, not many times.
You guys have been back there.
Yeah, like that was before Comeback Kid had ever gone. But I think Comeback Kid's done South America 5 times now.
Okay.
So, yeah. And
I guess,
we've actually run into a few of the people that, we met, way back then. So
okay.
that's always cool.
Yeah. That's interesting to see the progression and like where.
Oh yeah, like it's
doing that kind of crazy shit, and then now it's a little more organized.
The way we do it now is completely different.
Yeah.
We're gonna play. Well, we actually did more shows in Brazil than we ever have before with Comeback Kid. I think we did 5, but usually you do like 2 or 3. You'll play one in Argentina, Peru, Chile.
Okay. Yeah.
You'll hit up all the countries.
You'll do like maybe 10, 12 shows max.
Yeah.
But that's from Colombia south, like not just one country.
Now you guys tour like hard.
Yeah,
like you guys.
I would say we
maybe not as much
off.
so, but like you guys did a lot of time on the road.
Yes, yeah.
That's not. I don't think that's normal.
Yeah,
no. Sorry, maybe not. Normal is not the right word, but like that's not the usual.
Mm-hmm. I think for us, it was like that first decade. It was just like we basically said yes to everything if we had, the window was open. We didn't have something else booked. But our whole thing was just like we just wanted to hammer it. And
was it just like, here's our window of opportunity, we have this thing going, and we want, this is like to say yes as often as possible, just we'll keep this thing moving forward? Or what was the thought process for you, like for you personally, behind we're going to here, we're going to here, like we're just going to put tons and tons of travel miles on? I
think it was I'm trying to think about this while I'm speaking, but I think it was 2 things. Like from a business perspective, the whole idea is to just like, really saturate when you're starting. So you just want to go around, come back in 6 months and try to build. You're building. You're trying to build momentum while also putting out new music like every 2 years or whatever. Oh but then there's also, this is what we do. This is like, I was proposing, I got turned down, but I was proposing to the band, like, let's try to do 400 shows in 1 year. Like, play doubles some night, 2, 3 shows like in a day some at times, it was, I wouldn't say it was always fun, but it was just like, that was our sense of purpose. We're connecting, like I'm getting something out of this and seeing them get something out of what we're doing. Like, it's always been that mutually beneficial sort of relationship that we were looking for on the road. And so, we thrived off of that. And then, we're still quite active, but now, we're just not going to hit the markets like we used to, because it'd be like, oh, I just saw Comeback Kid 3 months ago, so why would I go?
Have people changed? Have the crowds changed in a sense that you've had to adapt to that? Or the fan base, or I don't know
I don't know how far you want me to drill down, but it really
whatever you want to talk about.
It varies by region.
Yeah, okay.
Like, to be honest. So, like, if I'm to go to where we have the most turnover, it'd be America. Like that's.
Okay.
You know what though? It's interesting. There's a bit of a revival happening. The old stuff. We're seeing older folks come out more than like when we started. we were at the top.
Yeah.
Like people, they were going to be seen at a Comeback Kid show.
Yeah. Then,
like, we started touring full time, I'd say 2003 with Comeback Kid. Then closer to the end of that decade, like, let's say 08, maybe into the past 10 or whatever, it just didn't connect in the same way in America. Like, we'd still go down, our shows would be fine, but we weren't like, so bands in America, they shoot to the top and then you have to be ready for the drop. Like, that's just the way it happens.
What did that feel like going through that? Like when you actually realized like something's shifting.
You know what? If we put all of our eggs in that basket, it would have sucked. But thankfully, we also like we came out swinging in America, like hard. Like those first 2 records really hard. But towards like after we put out Wake the Dead in 2005, we started to also hit Europe pretty regularly. And so as that was kind of like as the honeymoon was kind of, you know, we were coming out of that.
Yeah.
In America, Europe was
Picking up.
only like and honestly like that's our oldest crowd. People that came out 20 years ago are still coming out. And so we have like the widest range of fans in Europe because there's a lot more just, you know, they stay with their bands, you know, more. And Canada would be somewhere in the middle, as would, you know, places like Australia. South America is a bit of an older crowd too.
Okay.
But yeah, it varies.
I do sense that there is a bit of a, like in our generation's genres of whatever you want to call it, hardcore, alternative music, whatever. There is like definitely a resurgence happening right now.
Yeah, there is.
Like, and has been for maybe a year or two.
Yeah.
I've been feeling it and sensing it coming, and like even talking to my daughter. My daughter's 13, and like I play music for her, and she's like, and this isn't you, but like she's like, oh, this is emo. And I'm like, kinda.
Yeah.
But like, and,
That's how she understands.
But she likes it, and she's just like, oh yeah, this I know this song, or I heard this song, and it's like, you fucking did?
Yeah.
Like what? And I think that's shifted in the last couple of years. You're seeing all these tours coming back. I mean, you're seeing now Warped Tour's doing a small stint or 3 or 4 dates in next year. Like, there is a resurgence, and it must be mainly fueled by our generation going to these things and wanting these things.
Yeah, I don't know. Some people have said it's you know, like they're, you know, when we were young festival stuff like that. Like you went to shows back in the early 2000s, then you had your family, and now, you know, you might
Kids
not be
are
empty
growing
nesters
up.
just
Yeah.
yet, but you can leave.
But
They're
the kids
13,
the
they're
kids can
15.
be
They can
home on
stay
their own.
home.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bring
exactly.
your kids.
Yeah.
Like
I take my daughter to stuff.
Yeah,
like,
the amount of photos I've taken with a dad and his daughter or son or whatever.
That's cool.
Like
That's
that
kind of
number's
fun.
going up.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that's.
Well, and you guys have done it too.
factor.
Like you're a dad. You're a husband. Like you have your.
I brought my kids to Furnace Fest. You know.
Yeah, like you've done. You're
Yeah.
doing the thing. What's that been like?
Yeah, it's cool because I have always made it a bit of a how do I word this? Like I never wanted to like push my interests, or just because this is what I do, you should like it too.
Sure.
Yeah,
Like I don't want my kid to be a hardcore kid if they don't want to be a hardcore kid.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
they have a genuine interest, I will take you to whatever show you
100%,
want.
yeah.
For sure.
But I'm not gonna, like, if I sense that, you know, like you want to leave, like I took my kid to a few shows and he has a genuine interest in it, but you know, when he's ready to go, let's go. Because I don't
have
want
to stay
burn
there
that.
today.
There's
Yeah.
no reason to burn that out.
Yeah.
So, and my daughter, she's 5, so I don't know, you know, where that'll be.
She hasn't
but yeah,
settled into anything yet by any means, but
yeah, no, for sure. But I took my son on tour in Europe this summer, and it was about 2.5 weeks, and that was
that's
like,
awesome.
Like the further that goes away on the calendar, the more I'm just like, wow, I got away with that. Like somehow everything like.
Yeah.
I had some anxiety a month leading up to that one because, like, you know, there's certain things that could have gone wrong that would have thrown the tour off, you know.
Yeah.
Because in that situation, I got to be dad first. But everything went smoothly, and I was like, wow.
That's amazing.
Like,
and what an experience for him. Like, just to see the world. Like, never mind the music side of it, take that out. But, like, for him at that age to be able to see the world, like, that's...
Absolutely.
I didn't get to do that.
No, you know where my dad took me? In the construction to help him shovel the rock and everything.
Hey, you got to go to Hungary or whatever, which was I guess just down the street. But
no. By the way, I was so pissed. I missed you guys twice in my home country.
Hungary?
Slovakia.
Slovakia.
By one was by 2 or 3 days.
What's the big city in Slovakia?
There's Bratislava.
We just played there, yeah.
And you guys played in Košice as well, I think.
When would that have been? That sounds familiar.
A while ago.
Everything kind of blurs together.
Yeah,
but yeah, my son's been to Bratislava.
Yeah,
so we play it on a boat.
Randall? Was
You
it
played
at
on
the
a
Randall?
boat?
Oh, on the boat.
It was like a sort of a punk barge.
Oh,
like,
okay.
like when I say boat, don't think like
Yeah,
fancy.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
It's,
No.
it's like a barge tied to the.
I saw you in Mexico. I know what you guys are like. You guys are willing to play.
We'll do whatever. Like,
Well, but that's cool. Like, that's great. And
Yeah.
like, I remember we talked about it in Mexico a bit, and I was talking to Andrew about it a bit too at that night. And it's just like, I don't know, we had dates to fill. We figured let's drive somewhere and
Yeah.
go play.
Well, I mean,
And,
in that situation,
we
like,
didn't know what was going to happen.
we had never played Merida before,
Yeah.
and so it's like our friend Bailey, who was living in Mexico at the time. He's like, dude, I can hook this up and whatever. The money's not going to be great, but it's just like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Like we're playing over here and we got to get there, and this is right
This
here.
is in
so,
between, so let's do it.
And I had been there as a kid.
Oh, okay.
Because I used to live in Belize, like
You did say that, yeah.
not too far from there. So that was the place where the community that we were living in. That's where they would go get their teeth fixed. So I had a memory of being there when I was probably 11 or 12.
Okay.
Okay, nice.
So I
Interesting.
kind of really wanted to go.
Yeah, I remember you video chatted me for a song or two.
Yeah, I think I
it was,
did,
It was
yeah.
fun, yeah.
That show is definitely the most different out of all of them. 'Cause it was just like in a parking lot, like
Yeah,
kind
I
of
saw
just
the
like
pile of garbage
trailer
there, too,
that
on the
I
side.
It was
think-
like a half kind of biker. I think it was a biker bar a little bit, like not that night, and like it was like a parking lot. There was a stage.
Yeah. Almost
It was-
like
it was strange. Yeah,
like
it
a
was
rundown
strange.
MC.
It was awesome. Like, it was great. I thought it was good. The crowd seemed good.
Oh yeah, like I mean that's the thing. Like you can sense that appreciation that it's like you're coming to our town, nobody does.
Yeah.
So that alone makes it worth it, because those happy faces. You'll see happy faces at other shows, but they're genuinely stoked because this doesn't happen every day. So
Is that still a big driver for you? Is just the reward of the people and the fans and the crowd? Like, that's still
maybe it sounds
Does it-
egotistical, but
no,
but it's nice.
There's
like
nothing egotistical about that.
like I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba now, but also a rural kid. And so anytime something would happen, again, it's not like the East Coast, like in the States, or even like in Canada, bands will always come up and hit Montreal, Toronto, and then
Yeah.
and
then
skip
Vancouver
Winnipeg,
at the end, yeah.
Vancouver, yeah.
Yeah.
So I know what that feels like. When like for me growing up, one of my favorite bands was Tourniquet. They're like a Christian thrash
Oh, I
band.
remember them.
And they played the West End Cultural Center in 1994.
Yep.
I had to be there.
I was at that show.
That was it had to happen,
Yep.
because this band is coming. So yeah, I can't remember what kind of maneuvers I had to do with my parents, but I remember I drove down here with a friend and went to the show. But I, as a fan, was so appreciative of that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That for me, it's like when there are opportunities to play places off the beaten path that aren't gonna we're not gonna lose our shirt doing it, but why not?
Well, and like before my son got into the same type of music I maybe helped him, nudged him a little bit that way, but at the end of it, like you said, I'm not going to push him.
Yeah.
I tried it with my daughter, and she's a Swiftie, that's okay, and that's fair,
Totally.
Lost one soldier, that's okay. But so now he's into it, and like before I was like always, well, Minneapolis is not that far, but I'm not going to go by myself because my wife's not really into that music, so unless some friends went, we wouldn't go. But now it's like, hey Jacob, check it out, this band's playing, it's only a 7-hour drive, it's not that bad. And like we went to Sioux Falls for a show now in Minneapolis, and I'm just now keeping an eye always because they don't tend to come to Winnipeg, but they might just get close enough for us to take a road trip.
Well, in Minneapolis, like the three of us grew up in Winnipeg to an extent, and like Minneapolis is where you go. Like, you want to go see shows, you go to Minneapolis. Like,
that's
I have
the
done
closest.
that drive. I think all three of us could do that drive almost blindfolded. You probably for sure.
Grand Forks exit 138. That's where I go to Qdoba and Starbucks, and then I carry on and I get off. I think at exit 60 to get on I-95.
You can definitely do it with closed eyes. See,
When I hit Alexandria, that's where I stop for
What
gas.
are you going to do when your tour van can drive itself?
Right.
I'm more of a backseat driver. Like, I love napping during rides.
Oh,
so,
yeah, you don't like driving.
No, like,
I love driving.
I like driving at night. Like,
Okay.
that's no problem for me, but afternoon is like, I like napping.
Yeah.
So
Fair
enough.
You
Well,
know,
you work nights too, though. Like
I used to,
You're like
so-
you're a night owl.
my
so-
schedule is all over the place.
Yeah,
but
fair.
Nocturnal animal.
Yeah.
yeah, I function better at night for sure.
Yeah. So you.
But yeah, let's get into. I really want to talk about, being in a touring band and starting a family. It's gotta be tough. Like, I mean, I know it was just tough for me to even get things going, and I'm in the city every day, right? So, but with your job being gone for long periods, and then back and gone again, I want to kind of get in like what were the biggest challenges in a relationship, just first when it was just you and your wife or girlfriend, and then how did it get into turning it into a family and
Sorry, I've been saying wife. Is it your wife?
Technically
partner,
yeah.
Whatever. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well,
I mean, no, it's all good. We've been engaged for 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah, you live together. It doesn't matter. You're screwed either way.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So
we have 2 contracts.
Yeah.
8 and 5. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so what were the challenges? Which things maybe were easier? Tell us a little bit about that. Like, dating,
Yeah. I mean, for the longest time, I just stayed single touring. I had seen, I like to think of myself as a careful operator, but that's only in some things. I'm reckless in other areas. but just kind of observing other musicians, touring musicians, kind of settle down with somebody that wasn't from their hometown or country or some we've lost half of our band to Australia, in the past, lots of relationships with Australians. There's a bit of a, I always thought that that's a big factor to consider, this is great now. Let's live here for 2 years. But let's fast forward, 20, 30 years. Then what? Bring kids into that. Where do we want? How? So yeah, that kind of spooked me a little. So I just kind of and in my head, back of my head, I was always thinking, once I hit 40, then I'm gonna get a little more serious about maybe finding someone. Yeah. And I was always truly 50-50 about kids. If it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, great. Yeah. I didn't need it. I didn't also, avoid, not want.
You weren't against it by any means. Yeah.
No, not against it, not for it. Yeah, and then kind of fast forward to my current relationship. It just kind of happened. It just kind of started organically. There was interest on both parts. It was someone that had known for met over 10 years before that. Okay. But back then there was never any romantic interest or anything. It was just we knew each other. I think I might have it wrong, but I feel like we kind of knew each other just from being around the Albert, but also other shows or whatever. Yeah. But and then I'm not going to throw her under the bus, but I think she wanted the relationship to progress a little faster than I did. Yeah. Because I was still, touring a lot, and it was always a consideration of mine because I wanted that person to make sure, because this is what I do. I'm not stopping.
Yeah, that's right.
It's sort of like a non-negotiable thing because I'm one of those weirdos where I found somewhere where I fit in or fit in. I felt like I belonged. Yeah. Felt like I could contribute. This is my sort of thing. So I just wanted to make sure that whoever I was going to be with understood that. Fully knowing there will still always be challenges anyways. So we had started talking about where we're gonna want to be and kids and all that, and that was definitely something that was fully on the table. Timeline wise, we weren't really sure when and all that and where, because are we gonna stay in Winnipeg or there were ideas being floated, and then all of a sudden I'm on tour, played a show in Prague, driving overnight to Budapest, and I get a call. Or I wake up because I have to go to the bathroom. Yeah. We're sharing a bus with Bain. So I'm in my bunk, I wake up because I have to pee all the time. And 4 missed calls, and I was like, ooh. So go to the bathroom. I'm coming back. All right, I should give her calls. And she calls again. And then I was like, what's going on? She's like, I'm pregnant.
just right into it. Well, at least she was right out with it.
Yeah.
And yeah, just looking back, just I remember that moment. Like, I was just like, all right, here we are. This is not what we planned, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Keep on driving, buddy. Keep on driving.
Oh no, I finished that tour just like this. I confided in one person because, and I wouldn't have, but only because, planning tours and stuff like that, you're not doing that, just like in a couple of weeks, like we're talking, like
you're planning
so it's
6 a year. Yeah.
Andrew, I got to tell you something.
Yeah.
So,
and if anyone, you and him have been the two.
Like we've always been, well, I shouldn't say always, but especially at that time, we were the decision makers.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it was odd, but also kind of like awesome. It's just like, right, this is how it's going to be.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, you can't put a pause on that.
No.
So
yeah.
That's going to happen.
So did you find, like you had to book tours.
Yep.
This was happening.
Yep.
You're in it.
Yep.
What were the great things about it, and what were the challenges about it? Like, did you take some time off? Did you?
Yeah. We took. So yeah, my band was super cool about it both times.
That's awesome.
Both surprises. Yeah, like took a little bit of time off before, like maybe a month.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that was, that's always a weird window that last.
Yep.
Well, I think with Jack there might have been even more time. I remember Rosie. I was in South America like 1 month before, and I was just
uncomfortable.
I couldn't wait to get home.
Yeah. Anything could happen, right? Like
dreading
the baby
that
could
phone
come.
call. Like, I think I'm in late.
Yeah.
I was just. I had this feeling like this is gonna happen. I know it, but it didn't. It didn't.
That's good.
Other terrible things happened, like our van getting stolen at home. But anyways.
Oh shit.
But yeah, we took off between 3 and 4 months.
Okay.
With both kids.
Okay.
And tip of the hat to my band.
Yeah, that's great.
Like, that's not something I can expect because they're not expecting a kid.
It's not their kid.
But everybody was cool with it. And honestly, like, just to zoom out, like, I think it was also healthy for the band because, we do go.
Yeah.
And so taking pauses like that, I wish we would do that without that excuse too.
Yeah.
Like, where it's just like, can we just
need a break.
4-month like block where we can just kind of look forward to doing something else with our lives for a bit, because we're guilty of kind of not doing that. Saying yes to more things than we should.
Well, and then writing falls into that, and you got to put out albums, and
exactly.
I guess
I would love those breaks without that
without even having
to.
Yeah, right.
Like where it's
because I guess
like,
when you take a break now, it's like, well, we better record an album or we better get writing.
There's no breaks.
Yeah.
There's
no.
Mentally, there's no breaks. There's it's always going to be on.
Yeah.
No, you're not 9 to 5ing 40 hours.
No, but
a week,
you're business owners. That's how I equate it, because that's what I am now.
No,
and like you're a business owner, and
it's
so
100%,
you wake up with it, you go to bed with it. Like no matter what's going on, or if you have a show or an album or whatever, you're in it every day of the week,
100%,
all the time.
It's a labor of love. I'm happy to do it, but it's not relaxing.
Yeah.
No,
especially when you're dealing with, different time zones too. Because like Europe's waking up when I'm asleep, so I'm waking up, and there could very well be some time sensitive stuff that needs to get hammered out now. But I wasn't planning on, because I got 2 kids to take. Like
juggling.
That's definitely not every day, but
it does happen.
The fact that can happen is just something you live with, right?
Yeah.
So you're always kind of like at that,
Well, you're at that level of readiness all the time because you're used to it.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, and at least now you've been doing it long enough that, like, I'm sure the first time you went through all that stuff, it was probably a little more challenging than it is today.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Just because you're used to it, you're like, oh, I know this is what expects. We're booking a tour. Yeah, I know this is what's involved in when we book tours, and here's all the people we talk to, and blah, blah, blah. Like, at least now you've got, and I would assume you deal with a lot of the same people.
Yeah. I mean, like in Europe, we've had literally the same booking agents since our second tour, and we've done 100.
Oh, okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
So, that's gets
a little more structured and processed.
Kind of, yeah. There's other wild cards, but
top 3.
Yeah, but he's it's a relationship that's easy.
And so with your kids, with you being gone so frequently, like how's that been with them being so young and building relationships with them and being a dad and
yeah, it's a strange one because there's a lot of I don't know if guilt is the right word, but that feeling of just like when I'm gone, especially when there's some downtime, because that's the whole thing about the road is it's hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
Like go because you got to be there at this time. But now that you're here and you did that thing that you had to do for whatever, maybe a sound check or whatever, now you've got 4 to 6 hours, and sometimes it's hard to be productive in that window. And being a dad, it's like this is time that I wish I could like.
If my kids were here, we could go do sightseeing or just whatever, right? Yeah.
Which I got to do with my kid in Europe.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I guess it doesn't come till later though.
Yeah. And so those are the moments that I cherish is when I can kind of make them part of that unique experience that I know most people aren't going to be able to experience. This is one thing I can offer you. I know this sucks, but I'm trying to find silver linings, you know, with what I do because it is what I do, so it's...
Well, yeah, and that's like that. You're not getting a desk job, like
I can't.
No, I think you're well past.
I am that weird
making that shift.
Square peg that can't fit in certain round holes. Like,
when you retire from music, will we see you at Home Depot?
Yeah. I mean, it was funny. Like I had this conversation with other aging musicians, where it's just like, are we ready to put that orange apron on yet or not? Because we need to figure something out. Because it's like I'm 50 and less than I just crossed the 18-month.
Okay.
I'm doing this weird countdown thing. So I'm closing in on 50. But
now you talked about other projects. Yeah. Earlier you talked about having some other things in your mind that you wanted to get out. And have you done other projects or
not properly?
Or would you like to? Like,
yes.
Do you have stuff that's kind of sitting and waiting for that moment where it's like, oh, I'm going to do this afterwards? Like,
I'd like to do it now.
Okay. Yeah.
No, I have a variety of things I'd love to do, but time and money are factors because like I have the ideas. I'd love to see them through properly, but someday when I have a proper recording studio like set up, I'm also pretty like individualistic about a lot of that. So collaborating with other people, that would probably help move a project along. But I'm also kind of wanting to be a bit of a control freak with some of these ideas where it's just my past experiences of bringing ideas and them getting changed to where it's like I get less stoked on things. There's certain things I just want to see through, and when I don't know. I'd like to. I don't know. I'm always like recording on my phone and like I have albums that are just
need a little extra
need some
time
refining and basically need someone to say, hey, I have $10,000 for recording budget. All right, we can do
it. Nice.
But
let's take a break and then we'll be back.
Hey Tommy, among all the episodes we've recorded, there's one common theme, and that's getting therapy. We've talked about it lots.
Many times.
You had a really tough time making that first phone call. I had a tough time making that first phone call. I didn't even know if the person I was going to see was the right person, but you got to just try. Thank goodness we have a sponsor that makes it way easier now. BetterHelp has an online platform that allows you to fill out a questionnaire. They connect you with a therapist, and you get to communicate with them however you want. And it makes it way less scary to be connected with someone. And if you're not into the person you talk to, they'll sign you another one right away. I've gotten assigned mine already, and I can't wait to use it. Like, by the time you hear this, I will have had my first session, and I'm super pumped to talk about it on the show.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it, and like it's very easy to sign up. It took us maybe 5 minutes to sign up, and you answer just simple questions, and next thing you know, you got a message that you will be paired up with a therapist, and within the same day we got the therapist already, the name and a message from them, and we were able to communicate with them. So it's extremely easy. So please go to BetterHelp.com. Yeah, that's the thing. BetterHelp.com /Quiet Riot Show, and you get to also enjoy 10% off for your first month if you sign up using this link. So again, right here, I'm going to be doing it from here. Yeah, it's BetterHelp.
Am I screwing it up?
.com /Quiet Riot Show. yeah, sign up today, and you're not gonna regret it, because I'm already enjoying it. Just the fact that we connected with therapist.
Me too, man.
Thank you to BetterHelp for supporting this podcast.
Actually, that's a funny thing I wanted to talk to you about. You being an introvert and sort of having that side of you, so much of your time touring, you don't really necessarily get to be that. But like the recording, writing,
I do.
Or you
I
just
go
make
for
sure
long
you.
walks.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess those 4 or 5 hour breaks in between. Talk to me, or talk to everybody a little bit about like the writing, recording process versus the touring, playing process. What do you love about both? What are some things that maybe you don't love about both, or what are challenges in both of those for you?
I love aspects of the writing process. I absolutely love aspects of the writing process. There's just something fun, like when you're in the zone. That's the best. Like, just like you're like, when I look back on, my contributions, to our albums, not all of them, but there's certain ones where I remember like building those parts, and and when they actually, you get to see that come out the way that you had kind of initially vibed off of it. That's the reward as far as, the creative component of it goes. There's other less exciting parts about that, and like I said, I am introverted, and when it comes to collabing with people, I have a little bit of difficulty with that, but so much of being in a band is that. So I have a lot of self-induced anxiety when it comes to writing. Is this going to be good enough? How do I tell that person that I'm not feeling that I know they really it's, those are difficult. Those are conversations I stress about and find so difficult. And maybe I know I overthink it. I'm not putting it on anybody else but me.
Well, and you have to give it.
Yeah.
And you have to receive it too.
Totally.
And so I guess that's its own enemy.
It's really hard sometimes. Like when you're, and I know what I'm doing to somebody else, because I know how that feels, because
for you,
sometimes you just have a riff, but there's like more going on that you can't always convey. And when you can't convey that, I can't expect them to see it, and they're going to be like, I'm not feeling that, and it's like, I know why you're not feeling that.
Because you don't get what
but we're not,
we're not
and it's
there
funny.
yet. Yeah.
It's funny because through all of that, like all 7 records, I've come to a point with Andrew. For those who don't know, he's former guitar player, now vocalist. Me and him are the 2 mainstays in the band. Anyways, he's someone that I've kind of come to trust with his vision. Because so many times I have no problem saying this, he's got a weird ass brain.
Yes.
And when it comes to certain aspects of that writing process, there are times where I have just like gone back and been like, I trust him. I don't see it right now, but I try. I used to fight him on it, like on certain parts, like in earlier records, like where I just didn't get what he like. Nothing's making sense here.
Yeah.
But there's now, just being in a band with him for so long, the last couple of records, it's like when I can see that hamster wheel moving in his brain,
just let him go.
And but if I just was to record that and play it back for somebody else, I can't always see the vision, but I can see, I'm vibing off of him vibing.
Yeah. Well, and you've had the 2 of you have had so many years together.
Yeah.
Creating and performing, and
totally.
I guess we haven't got to the performing part yet, but creating, like, you guys have been creating music together for fucking so long.
Yeah.
And so like at a certain point you get to, like you said, Andrew has a weird ass brain. Mm-hmm. I know Andrew just a speck of what you do, and like, yes, he does, but he's phenomenal at how that brain works. Is amazing. Mm-hmm. And like does incredible things.
Yeah, like
I guess you just get to know that and just learn that.
You evolve as a band, right? And as a musician yourself too.
Totally.
So, yeah.
Like, I mean, if you look at our first record, it's very simplistic, but there was also visions there. But now, like, everything gets a little more complex and layered, and I'm probably guilty of being the really conservative one in the band with the like, you know, let's try to stick within the parameters and not go too far out. But just like his songwriting is good, but his arrangements, like the way he can like arrange a song is, I think I'd go so far to say is he's one of the best out there. Like he can take, like if you give him, you know, intro, verse, chorus, pre whatever breakdown or the, you know, whatever the payoff, and then we come back here. Just give him some time with that. And if he's feeling that, he's going to turn it around and then send it back to you, and you're going to be like, I don't know. Then he puts vocals over it, and you're just like,
holy shit.
Oh, fuck, there it is.
Yeah. That's exactly what we wanted. Yeah.
The math isn't working here. But anyways, that's, you know, and it's been interesting kind of being like a fly on the wall sometimes. But anyways, go back to writing. Love most of it. I have a tough time with the I'm not against collaborating, but I have a lot of self-induced anxiety that it's just an ongoing work in progress.
And that's always been the, like,
I hate it, but it's always there. Yeah. And then it gets worse when we get into the studio. I do not like recording. I love the idea of it, but I don't like being in the studio.
Okay.
I just like, I'm not a great guitar player. I'm average at best.
Okay.
And there are times, no, for real, like I'm not a shredder. Everybody knows that.
Yeah,
like, I'm a bar chord, octaves. You know, I can paint the picture a bit, but I'm not like a flashy shredder at all.
Yeah.
So, but there's certain times where you're recording and you're like, it's a 2 or 3 second part, but I have done 50 takes, and I don't know what I need to do to step outside to get back in to like nail this take. Yeah. Anyways, I always feel like that being under the microscope, like I feel it twice as much as I should. Again, self-induced anxiety. Not a big fan.
But I think, I mean, and I know there are probably like freak musicians that will, you know, grab the instrument and nail it on one take. You know?
Oh yeah.
But I think most people are very harsh on themselves, right? Because like you'll record a part and everyone will tell you, oh, this is great, and you'll be like, no, I want to redo it, and I want to redo it again and again and
that's
again.
what your producer's for.
Yeah, for sure.
Totally. And sometimes it's even the opposite, where I'm like, it's good enough, and they're like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Right?
It does happen, right?
And 9 times out of 10, I still will say I'm right. Because just the way that you can record and layer things, you can get away. But at the end of the day, you just want to work. Like, I mean, I would love to do like all my recording in one take. You know, just like, you know, the 2.5 minute song,
just
one take,
do it.
done.
Yeah.
You know, no cut. But I mean, it looks like when we were recording Wake the Dead, guys, like, it looks like a fucking barcode. Like, you know, you just got all these edits.
Yeah, it just does. That's just, well, and I've only done a couple albums, but like I've worked with both types of people, like producers, where it's like, one wants more of the natural feel, so you go longer, you do longer takes, and then the other guy wants like, no, I just need that word or that phrase, and it's just like, that feels fucking weird. And like, they have a way of getting you to do it so it doesn't feel weird, but like, it's weird. You look at it and it's just like, holy fuck, did I even do this?
Just give me a note. Okay, okay,
that's
all I need. But no, I like, but there's also a part of, you know, being in the studio that I do love, especially when it comes to, you know, layering things, and
that gets fun.
And you know, like, we're
painting
not
the picture, like really like adding layers to it, adding colors to it, and like
and
getting creative. And
Andrew's vocals, like
oh man,
9 times out of 10, you know, we've gone into the studio with the music, but the lyrics aren't ready, so it's kind of like a little, you know, you don't feel fully confident going in because it's like, I don't know where we're at.
It's a little dry,
but then again, it's just like, you know, I got that faith in that kid, you know, where it's like, guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't, like, he gets kind of bummed at us because we don't go like for example, this last record that we did, the last full length we did, Heavy Steps, we recorded with John Paul, and we started to realize that we had it was during COVID, so we had too many songs, and we're just like, we're gonna run out of time. So we ended up using the second studio and getting somebody else, this guy Benjamin, to track his vocals.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And, you know, the reason that John Paul kept on doing that was because we know Andrew knows what he's doing. He's produced records. He knows. He knows what he wants. He's going to tell you anyways what he's going to do.
Yeah.
You're not going to tell him like do it this way. He's got his way that he's going to track his vocals. But he gets kind of bummed because we're not in the room. But it's like, kind of want to just stay out of there. Like if you need me and you want to bounce something off me, I'm happy to be there.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm kind of more focused on the guitar tracking and stuff like that. I have full confidence that he's gonna maybe there's the odd thing or be like I'm not feeling that, but like
that Heavy Steps video is fucking hilarious, by the way.
Yeah.
It's so good.
the B-Day party.
Anyone listening, if you haven't watched it, watch it.
Yeah, do it.
Okay, so that's recording.
Yep.
Now talk to me about performing.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, what exactly do you want to know?
Just what are your favorite parts of it? What are the struggles you have with it? What just
touring or performing?
No, performing.
Performing.
I think we covered a bunch of touring stuff.
Yeah,
kind of, but we didn't talk about actually on stage.
I love playing. I love my favorite moments will always be the 300 to 500 cap rooms that are stuffed. Just like no barricade, let's go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, do you guys ever have a barricade?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not we never ask for a barricade. In fact, we ask for it to be can it be removed?
Yeah.
When we're supporting, obviously it is what it is. It's the headliner's call or the venue's call.
Yeah.
But if we have the call, there will never be a barricade there.
I don't think you guys had a barricade in Winnipeg.
No,
ever.
I don't think. Well,
I think that would be rude to the Winnipeg fans.
Yeah, like on some of the bigger support
Sometimes
tours.
I'm sure you don't have a choice, but
We had, like for example, like last year we played the Burt Block Party, or when we opened for Bad Religion Dropkick at the arena.
Yeah,
that's gonna those shows. It's not negotiable.
Yeah.
But when we're playing the Park or back in the day Collective or wherever you've seen us,
the Collective.
Yeah, there's not going to be a barricade unless it's being imposed on us. But no, I like that's what we live for. That 45 minutes or hour or whatever. It's like,
that's the joy in the whole. The culmination of all the hard work and the things. That's what makes it worth it.
Exactly. I'm getting my day out, and I'm hoping, because I know there's kids in there that they've been waiting. And,
I wanted to talk to you about, or ask you basically, what does that feel like to, when you get asked, by a little kid, like, hey, can I take a photo with you or anything? Because like I've seen it on the receiving end from my son, but like I understand you guys just finished playing a set, you're exhausted from whether touring or just playing the show, right? And you probably just, once you're done, you just want to go sit down and, relax and kind of recharge your batteries. But that there are those fans out there, maybe with kids that really want to, they're huge fans and they just want to take a picture. And is that something that like you guys love doing, or?
Yeah, I'll answer that very honestly. I love doing that. I don't like having long conversations after I play.
Yeah.
But if it's just like, a thank you and da-da-da-da-da-da, But if they want to start talking to me about my guitar tone on the last record and stuff like that, it's like, I don't know. Not that I don't have time for you. It's not like I'm trying to be rude, but it's, you just got off the stage. Your brain's kind of little, you've just been working.
Well, you just left it all up there.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like,
But I will always, as long as I don't actually have to be on my way to the airport or something like that, like, whoever wants a picture or like if you want me to sign the poster, like, we'll always.
Yeah, no, and that's like with so my son got pictures with Dayseeker, and this was like when they were playing here in Winnipeg with Silverstein, and then on Sunday we got pictures with Kingdom of Giants, and just like I always approach like, I know you guys are busy, I just want a photo, and then I'm out of your way. And, and usually like that was always well received, and just.
Well, I think we've all been that kid.
Yeah. I mean, I still
and when
am
someone
sometimes.
took a minute, like I don't know if you think about that or have thought about that over the years, but like when
can
someone
I tell a story and throw somebody under the bus?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, please.
Okay. I was so bummed. Okay, this is this year, and so I'm traveling with my son. We're starting the European tour, and it's in Romania. Like, we're traveling, so we land in Bucharest. And on our way to go through passport control to get into the EU or whatever, and we're walking down one of those conveyor belt thing, like not an escalator, but and I'd see this guy pulling this like gator case, so I'm like, oh, that's pedal board, as I'm passing it, I'm like, hey, are you guys playing the fest too? Because we're playing this big festival with like Creator, Hatebreed, whatever, in the mountains of Transylvania.
Yeah.
And then as I'm talking, I'm like, holy shit, that's Herman Lee from Dragon Force.
Oh fuck.
And my son, going kind of back to what I think you were saying maybe 20, 30 minutes ago in this conversation about your daughter, like, you know, kind of reckoning, oh, that's emo.
Yeah.
My son knows who Dragon Force is. He doesn't know who anybody else is.
Yeah.
But he plays a game called Brawl Stars. I don't play games, but there's a game called
Okay.
Brawl Stars, and there was some collab with Dragon Force. So he showed me one time, and I was like, oh, I know who that band is, you know. Anyways, so I go to him, like, can we get a pic? And he goes, do we really have to do that right now?
What?
I was just like,
That's the. Oh.
I was just like, I felt like a kid who just like got.
Yeah, your heart got crushed.
my
Yeah,
8-year-old
yeah.
son.
Fucking kidding me? Like, it's not for me.
And the
Like-
part that really bummed me out is because, like, I'm not like a massive Dragon Force fan, but I've seen them a few times, and they,
Yeah.
you know, kind of play that epic, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
metal. But their whole shtick is like fun and like.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? You don't have time for your fans like that at an air, like you're doing nothing. Like I get it. If
Yeah.
you're like, but you're standing.
You're walking to a gate,
on
like,
and it's like, I know, I understand he's in a band that's way bigger than my band, but my philosophy has always been you always say yes.
Yeah.
Unless you actually have to be somewhere.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was
it's
weird.
kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And
a
I
bummer.
get some people want their personal space
Well,
or
you
whatever.
never is he having
But
a shit day, but I think you give up some of that when it's like
You
you're
do.
a recognizable person.
Yeah.
It's
do
like,
because they are. I look like if you want to look at it from a purely transactional
Mm-hmm.
view, the only reason I'm able to be here and pay for my mortgage is because of you.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I take a picture
Yeah.
with you? There's 2 rules you don't break. That's like you don't interrupt a celebrity. And I'm not a celebrity, sorry, but you don't interrupt somebody when they're eating. Like you don't walk over.
Yeah.
Oh look, there's
no, that's fair.
whatever.
Yeah.
There's Mark Shifley. He's eating at Montana's. Let's go ask him for a pic. You don't ask.
No.
Yeah.
And you. Well, this is more of a 50-50 one, but depending on their level of how involved they are with their kids, maybe, you know, like if somebody is like doing something with their kids, maybe don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I think those are two
I'm
pretty
fine
good.
with it. Like if I'm out with my kid and somebody wants a picture, that doesn't bother me at all. But if I see like, you know, so and so out with their kid, you know, maybe don't
Yeah.
go ask.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I think
for
that's
sure.
a fair
Yeah.
couple
Yeah.
of
punishment.
rules.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
That
Yeah.
is
But
reasonable.
But if you have nothing but time, I don't give a fuck who you are.
Yeah.
yeah.
A-list, B-list, whatever. If you have a minute, respect your fans.
Do we really have
Yeah.
to do this?
And I'm
Are
yeah.
you fucking kidding me?
And I'm not just saying that because I got burnt, but that's my attitude towards it. It's like you are the reason I'm able to do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I have like to give you 5 or 10 seconds of my time for a picture or a signature. Absolutely. If you want a half-hour conversation punishing me about my career, that's maybe a little bit different.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, there's my rant for the day.
I think that's a great way to close it
I
out.
think so, yeah. Absolutely. With a
Jeremy's
bird,
rant.
Just
yeah.
a surly rant.
Yeah, we'll make sure we'll tag him.
Yeah. We'll tell Herman Lee, if you want to take that pic next
yeah.
time you're in Winnipeg, we can do it. I'll harbor no ill feelings.
Jeremy, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, happy
it's
to do
nice
it.
to see you again. I haven't seen you in a long time, and
Well, last time was Mexico, right?
I do
So-
appreciate seeing you, and that we've sort of always just been friendly with each other for a lot of years. And thanks for taking time to be here and sit with us. And you should get home and tuck your kid in.
Well, happy
Yeah,
to do it with you guys.
So I know you drink coffee or tea,
I
so
am a
that's a
coffee
little
drinker,
thank you
absolutely.
from us
I
for
already
you.
put the filter in my Arrow.
Oh, it's ready.
Press, so
Yeah.
it's ready.
It's
to
ready.
go
And
tomorrow
actually,
morning,
I'll give you more stickers. You can put it on your gear
Oh, yeah.
or whatever,
I've
and
got a Pelican and I've got 2 kids.
there you go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
One for me and
Thank you very much again. Yeah, as you pretty much covered all I wanted to say, but yeah, just for everyone else, can our viewers follow you on your social media and
Yeah.
your band? Do you want to just give it a little plug?
well, what is it again? I think it's Jeremy Hiebert 204 on Instagram.
I think so.
Yeah.
Comeback Kid, like Instagram's kind of like, you know,
The main.
we're in our 40s. You know, we're not TikTok, but we're not MySpace. You know,
What, you guys aren't doing the dances?
we should.
You guys-
I know
actually,
we're missing out.
you guys probably should do it just for shits and giggles.
We should put that effort in to learn a new platform. But,
Oh, please don't.
but yeah, the Comeback Kid one I think is probably like Comeback Kid HC.
I think so.
or
Yeah,
I don't
something
know.
like that.
But
Yeah.
Just if you
you'll
Google
find
Come
it.
Back Kid, you'll
Yeah.
find it on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and we are on TikTok as well.
Oh, I'm not.
And YouTube, Quiet Riot Show. And send us an email if you have a question or just want to comment on our show or anything. It's quietriotShow@gmail.com. Thank you again.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thanks,
Awesome.
buddy.
Thanks for having me.
See ya.
All Quiet Riot Show episodes have been recorded and produced by Suver Media. If you think you have an idea for a podcast but don't have the space or proper equipment, please visit suvermedia.com for more information. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please hit the follow button and leave us a review if the platform you are listening on allows you to do so. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Quiet Riot Show, and follow us on the Instagram page @QuietRiotShow. Please share this episode with others that may be interested in these topics. If you know anyone that would enjoy these topics, feel free to share our podcast with them. Also, let us know what topics you'd like to see covered in future episodes. Get in touch with us in the comments on our channel and social media, or send us an email to quietriotshow@gmail.com.